I know that beginning an inspirational video about death and fear is very unconventional, but I can't help thinking about it lately due to the demise of one of my relatives. And it was my aunt, and she was diagnosed with terrible illness, which kept her terminally ill. During her very last number of days, she was constantly kept in the hospital while I was also taken care of 24/7 by some of my other relatives and doctors. And sometimes when I visited the hospital, I caught her weary eyes staring at the empty ceiling of the hospital bed, and her mind, which was a million miles away of the hospital bed too. All those small details of hers kept me questioning. What was she thinking about? Was she thinking about her imminent mortality? Was she fearing it? Or was she worrying about what was left unfinished of her lifetime? That weary eyes and absent mind were somehow haunting. They were early reminders of the inevitable facts that there would be time for my day to come, when I would have to face death itself, and what would be my eventual expression towards it. I know that there will be time for me before that final stand-up, a time for me to choose between either being gradually devoured by my dread of death, or I will have to overcome my fear of it and even embrace it with a welcoming attitude, for my life journey was satisfactory enough. So, believe me, we all strive to make our lives satisfactorily, to take that second option. But before that, we need to change our cognizance of life and death, of how these two are not separate entities, but are one like yin and yang. Death is fearful, indisputably, but it shouldn't be a lingering thought that we all avoid discussing about or be in total denial whenever it was mentioned. It was a slow but persistent fear that keeps us running in sweaty t-shirts on a Monday morning, or makes us show our genitals to a total stranger with cold hands and a white coat, and we feel something is slightly off. That terrifies us all. Death anxiety appears to be the core of several mental health disorders, including health anxiety, panic disorder, and depressive disorders. And we're too scared to talk about it. I choose to be scared of it in the past, but now I choose to both be partly scared of it and to cheaply fuck them in the face as well. Forgive my language, but we can all agree that death wins anytime. It robs us of our self-esteem, of our individuality. It shows us the cold hard truth that we spend our lives denying that we are mammals crawling across the earth by imbuing ourselves with cultural values. Should we ignore the egoistic essence of death, thereby forsaking the beauty of life? Does that not undermine the very essence of life itself? Throughout history, we develop tastes, opinions, preferences, and passions. We produce art and name buildings and children and stars after ourselves. We have stories and narratives, and the utmost thing that summarizes what we have done is legacies. We create and leave legacy to laugh at the face of death, to trivialize it. And how can we trivialize something if we are not fearless about it? Death is not the final outcome, which should be taken as a part of life. I want to exemplify this viewpoint with the story of Paul Calamity, a neurosurgeon who passed away due to lung cancer. During his last days on earth, he spent those days not to search for medicine that can put a halt or slow his illness, or any medical wonder that can miraculously eliminate the cancer inside him. Rather, he took a great look at death, reconsidered his choices, his priorities, and how he should treat his beloved one during those dreadful days. He took death as an essential part of his life, an exit that he eventually had to go through earlier than most people. In addition, many cultures have celebration of death mainly to honor their ancestor, and I believe one healing aspect of such celebration would be the bringing together of those who are not grief-stricken, allowing people to seek comfort from sharing their loss and pain openly, and of being encouraged to keep the memory of their loved one alive. And when any individual person, whether it be a human, a dog, a fish or an ant or even a rock. When a person passes on and into a new level, shape, form being, they leave behind a legacy of some sort. It is like the supernova of a star, and although we cannot see with our eyes the impact of such an emotional and spiritual explosion, we know that the person's life in their death has had a tremendous and profound effect on the world without them, and even on their own lives. Therefore, the only thing that we get to influence them in the course of our approach to death itself. How we look at it is totally up to us. I say we look at it with fearlessness and acceptance of the impermanence of health and life. Death is often seen as a grim reminder of your fate, but it is also a friend of yours to retell you that you need to appreciate your living, to live with courage, and to cherish everything with you while you have them. In the end, I would like to quote a passage from Bertrand Russell, an English philosopher. An individual human existence should be like a river, small at first, narrowly contained within its banks, and rushing passionately past rocks and over waterfalls. And gradually, the river grows wider, the banks recede, the waters flow more quietly, and in the end, without any visible break, they became merged in the sea and painlessly lose their individual being.